Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto Anime review. This one's going to be for episode 64, which is called Rescuing Naruto. So, I think overall it is a pretty good episode, let down a little bit by a pretty much like potentially 5+ minute flashback sequence in the middle, which was relatively unnecessary. I get what they were going for with it. It's Naruto kind of all remembering these mistakes over the course of the series of like when he perhaps hasn't been a particularly like good father, kind of still treating Boruto as a child, not giving him the like acknowledgement he deserves. But I think given the way the Boruto Naruto scene goes when they do meet up, it wasn't necessarily needed. In that the arc is for Boruto more so than Naruto. I get they both have to go through some development. Naruto's a father, and Boruto accepting Naruto's kind of position and the situation. But it very much felt like they just had to pad out the episode and that they didn't really have anything else to put in. And it's building up, of course, that like we've already had a week kind of off. Last episode was pretty flashback heavy. This episode had at least one chunk of big flashback. They didn't go overboard on the fighting this week. Next episode looks like it's going to be one of the big episodes. They've brought in the heavy hitters on the animation based on the preview, and it seems like it is going to be like the episode. And that's what you have to expect from a show that runs basically all year round. That you're going to have to accept these situations of them using the best animators for only a handful of episodes, and them having to lower the quality of certain episodes to make other episodes better quality and so on, and these things happen. This episode, as I said, was still pretty good despite that. It's just when you have a quarter of the episode sort of be flashback, it's hard to overly praise the episode when you get stuff like that. As for the plot, we find out that okay, he's extracted like half of Naruto's chakra. Kind of rough explanation that this divine tree is kind of formed from Killer Bee, and they're going to form another one from Naruto, but it's taking a really long time because obviously Naruto has like the most chakra ever. Because it's interesting because like Momoshiki makes a couple of comments towards Naruto, like he starts calling him Fox, and then right towards the end he kind of notes that like, okay Boruto, like you have an interesting like fate ahead of you, destiny ahead of you. And then says to like Naruto that a pity you have so much power and like no way to pass it down. And you're sort of thinking like, what does he mean there? Like the obvious thing is like he's calling him Fox, tailed beast. You can't just directly give the tailed beast to someone. But we know like it is sort of possible to like extract it and give it to someone else, and that Naruto is kind of powerful enough to survive that extraction. But I don't think that's what they're talking about. Are they going more down the road of like Ashura? The fact that Naruto is Ashura's kind of reincarnation, and that is something that he can't actually just pass down, because Boruto very clearly cannot be Ashura's next reincarnation because Naruto's still alive. And to some degree, elements of Indra and Ashura's power are still present in Naruto and Sasuke. So there's an element that they can't really pass down. So that's why like Sasuke has the ability to get all those kind of special eye powers. It's why Naruto, in addition to just kind of having good like chakra levels through Kurama and that whole thing, had them anyway because he is the reincarnation as well. So is that what they're going for? And that's obviously the explanation for why Naruto has like even more chakra, why Momoshiki's kind of complaining even more so than perhaps he would have with whatever he did to Killer Bee, that like that didn't take that long. Why is Naruto taking so long is because oh yeah, he has that plus like other tailed beast stuff in there, plus like Ashura level chakra, and that relates to Otsutsuki stuff through the Sage of Six Paths and Kaguya and stuff like that. So in a way, Naruto is one of the more, in terms of his powers, heavily linked to them, because I suppose the way you interpret it is like the Otsutsukis are like gods, and then Sasuke and Naruto are more or less like demigods is kind of the best way to almost describe it, because of how actually like they have powers that more or less equate to Otsutsuki level of power. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know how much they'll go into that, but at the very least, there seems to be some level of respect in that Momoshiki is aware that Naruto and Sasuke are the main threats in this fight, just because of Naruto's chakra level, and then the fact that Sasuke has a Rinnegan. So that's pretty cool just to get that. I did like the talk that Momoshiki and Naruto had initially about the whole idea of like the difference between him, Momoshiki, versus ninjas is that like they practice and train and spend time to develop their powers and abilities. They don't just, get them in a second. And it's obviously meant to have this really high level scale thing where this is Momoshiki just kind of finding his power and just creating it rather than training himself. And it's similar to what Boruto's doing with the scientific ninja tool, and they're trying to get across that, hard work is better in every situation, and point to prove here will be that the ninjas will be able to defeat them using their hard work, and Boruto has done some hard work. Will he be able to play a role in the defeat of Momoshiki? Similarly, I suppose we do get the moment where Kinshiki's kind of defeated by the Kage and Sasuke, and they do the moment where obviously Kinshiki kind of sacrifices himself. He lets Momoshiki absorb his energy to transform into his kind of final stage, kind of combined form. They use the manga version, which I do like. I think it's actually a really cool design, especially seeing it here in animation. It looks really, really good. It definitely feels like a much more powerful form, and I'm excited to see the action stuff next week. But they did it fairly quickly. I think in the movie they had a little bit more focus on the fight, but I get what they were going for here, that this isn't the particularly important fight, in that when you really look at the scene as a whole, it is more about Momoshiki and what he's doing rather than Kinshiki, who is there to ultimately just lead to the power-up. The interesting aspect is definitely Urashiki. We didn't see him in this episode, but I think the whole Shikamaru section of the episode with Shikadai was more or less setting up that Urashiki is the one kind of slinking around the outskirts of the village, and that they'll have to fend him off. And I'm very interested to see where they go with him, because I think we just absolutely have no idea what exact direction they take with him. Like, there's still an element of like, do they have to steal the powers that he took from other people back? Or if they defeat him somehow or capture him, will they just automatically go back? There's some stuff to be explained there for sure. In that, like, okay, Shikamaru might fight him. That would be pretty cool to see what characters maybe end up fighting him, potentially defeating him. Because obviously, I don't think they can do the kill thing, just because of how like Boruto's powers are going to end up working out in the future. But we'll see. How they go about explaining the whole karma mark thing, power from the Otsutsukis, but we'll see how they do that. And I think that's more or less everything with the episode. We got a little bit of bonding between Shikadai and Shikamaru, of just kind of Shikadai wanting to help out in some ways, but then them obviously realizing that, no, while they're gone, it is our duty as the sort of like backup to these characters, Naruto and Boruto, to protect the village in their absence. So I'm wondering, will we get that fight? Because he feels like a Urashiki, that they have to do something with him, because like there's a focus on Mitsuki and the fact that his chakra's gone, his sage mode energy was stolen. Does he have to get that back? Can he get it back again? Obviously, they had the scene with him and Sarada where they kind of established that, okay, Mitsuki's not in dire straits anymore. He's kind of back up and running. He just had to gain his energy back. But can he still do Sage Mode or not, based on what Urashiki's powers are? Not particularly sure. Just another reaffirmation of just like, okay, Boruto is my son, and Sarada being a little bit like, somehow I knew you'd say that, but her kind of agreeing that like Boruto kind of has stepped up in this moment. So, for sure, some nice scenes happening here. But for sure, you can sort of tell that they didn't go completely all out on this one. That the setup was very much that next week is when you're going to get the super cool animation. Not sure how many episodes there's still going to be in the arc. I think like is the all of the fight going to happen next week, or will they just have a lot of the main action happen next week, and then they'll do the more story-based, like, final attack in the following episode, and then maybe an epilogue? I think there's only probably 2-3 episodes left in the arc, depending on how much they stretch things out. But yeah, I think that's most of what I want to say. I've been hearing from some people that there will be another break next week. I don't know for sure if that's the case. Some people saying there's Japanese holidays next week. That means there won't be another episode airing. Something about like a Pokemon special. Not entirely sure. If that's the case, it's a little bit disappointing in that we had a break just not that long ago. But if it means that the episode is better, if it means that the quality is high for like the last couple of episodes of the arc, that's perfectly fine. I'd prefer the arc end on a high note rather than like really cool fight and then the quality goes down again for like the actual important plot stuff at the end of the arc. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on this episode. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.